friends and comrades, I have known Poh Soo for over 60 years. We were in Raffles Institution together. Together, we entered the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Malaya in Singapore in 1950. We both dropped 1 year and graduated together in 1957. We joined the PAP when it was formed. Together, we helped found the Barisan Socialists in 1961. We were detained together in Operation Cold Store, February the 2nd, 1963, and released a few days apart in 1983. Poh Soo is foremost an anti-colonialist. He fought for independence from foreign control and domination, and as such was involved in nation building. We wanted to build a nation out of the disparate ethnic groups in our society. He was a founder of the University Socialist Club, whose first declaration was not on socialism, but on the issue of communalism, which we feel is an obstacle to nation building. During the Fajar sedition trial, he was actively involved in the collection of money for the Fajar Defense Fund. Our lawyer, the world-famous QC Dian Prit, offered his services gratis, offered free, but we had to pay for his other expenses. Poh Soo did a wonderful job. The Fajar trial matured all of us. He became a staunch socialist, fighting for democracy, for human rights, for justice for the people, and for transparency and honesty. He was specifically against the PPSO, which was then later changed to the ISA. He joined the PAP when it was formed. For these were the aims were enshrined, for these aims of his were enshrined in the PAP constitution. Soon he realized that the leadership of the PAP was betraying their own constitution. By 1960, hopes were dashed when the PAP not only refused to release detainees on coming into power, but even made their release more difficult. The review board, which has the power to recommend release and whose recommendation must be accepted, was changed to an appeal board, which has no power. I went before the appeal board. They recommended my release, but the recommendation was turned down. The review board was changed to an appeal board, which has no powers. more restrictions were introduced against the trade union movement. Public dissatisfaction led to PAP losing the Hong Lim election to Ong Eng Guan, who had campaigned for release of detainees and more freedom. This defeat was followed by another defeat in Anson, campaigned on similar platform. Later, the by-election at Sembawang was postponed. The wishes of the people were thus crystal clear. But Lee Kuan Yew dared not go against the British. The British wanted to introduce merger to control the anti-colonial forces in Singapore and strengthen their strategy for Southeast Asia. The PAP grasped the merger issue as a lifesaver. It kicked out the left wing out of the PAP on this issue and ignored the issue at hand, which was detention and more freedom. The progressive forces now expelled from the PAP formed the Barisan Socialists. As the Barisan Socialists called for the abolition of ISA, for human rights and more social justice, the values Poh Soo believed in, he not only joined the party, became a central committee member, and was very active in its activities. He was the editor of its English publication, The Plebeian. He represented the Barisan Socialists in the United Nations during a session of merger and the formation of Malaysia. The Barisan Socialists was a formidable force the British had to contend with as it pushed through merger. The Barisan Socialists accepted merger in principle, but it wanted to know the details. It wanted to know the terms. These terms were never spelled out and could not be spelled out. How could you tell the people of Singapore that one of the terms of merger was the continued stationing of nuclear arms at the naval base aimed at China? Would this, once this is known, would the Singapore people accept merger?